Hi everyone, this is your Sir Alberto Allegado Jr., your teacher in accounting too. So this is our first video tutorial for the subject, but I would like to tell everyone you really required ang magtanawan ng video. It's because it's a supplementary learning material where you can watch before and after the class only. Okay, but from time to time, no, I will also use this learning material during our class. Pero again, dili kung sunang itong mga kaugalingon kung wala tayo load, wala tayo gadget to watch these videos because there are other ways to learn no, aside from this one. But if you really want to understand better, understand more, di ka kasabot if hindi mo makuha ang lesson if i-chat discussion, then you have the option to watch the video. Right? So, shall we start? So, last time we actually had a review about the basic accounting cycle. So, there are how many steps in accounting cycle? So, we have basically 10 steps in accounting cycle for a service entity. Now, this day, we will discuss or we will review how to journalize transactions for a service business. Okay, so I hope nga ma-remember pa ninyo kung sa inyo natin ang last semester about how unsaon pag-journalize sa transaction. It's because this is actually the first recording phase, no? This is the first part nga record sa business kung unsa ang nahitabo sa mga transactions, and it's crucial. It's because kung nakay sayop sa imong journal entry, then all throughout your report, your financial statements, or all throughout the process of the accounting cycle, sayop na po din siya. So, you have to be careful and dapat ma-master yun ni mong saon pag prepare sa journal entries. So, our objective is only one. You should be able to journalize transaction of a service business. So, dapat ma-master na nimo ang pag-journalize sa transaction after this tutorial. Okay, pero kung dili pa, then you have to read more, especially sa inyong module or sa activity sheets. Okay? So let's try to recall that the first step is in accounting cycle is identification of events to be recorded, and it will be followed by journalizing transactions. Now for step 1, I would like to remind you that dili tanan business activities are considered to be financial in nature. It's because, for example, si business nag-hire siya og new employees, mga bago nagkuha siya bago nga mga tao, no, yang the business looking for new employees, but such activity cannot be considered as financial in nature because wala may nahitabo sa mga finances the business. Therefore, it couldn't be considered as financial transaction. Therefore, dili siya pwede nga i-journalize kaya wala may involved ng mga finances adto ng transaction. Right? So, that's one example for a transaction nga dili considered as financial. Now, after identification of events to be recorded or identifying transactions, then you're going to journalize transactions. So this is our focus for this day. So unsa ko man pag-journalize, no? Unsa ko man pag-prepare of journal entries. But by the way, what is a journal entry? So to recall, ang journal entry or the journal is a record of financial transactions in order by date. This is often defined as the book of original entry, or the other definition is the book of original entry. Ano gitawag man siya og book of original entry? It's because, as I said a while ago, this is the first time na mag-record si business sa mga transactions. Okay? So, asa niya i-record? Of course, sa journal. Okay? So, mo gitawag siya og book of original entry. It's because this is the first recording phase of the business. So, there are two forms of journal entries. The first one is the simple journal entry, kaning portion nga naka-yellow, and then we have the compound journal entry, the portion nga naka-violet. Now, as you can see, by simply looking at the slides, no, kita nimong difference. Tanaw nimo sa simple journal entry, sa yellow nga part, natay account titles, natay amount. Now, sa account titles, natay one debit account, tanabot tay one credit account. May bawaan man ni mga debit kay sa taas, may bawaan ni mga credit. It's because na siya sa ubos, sa debit nga account, na siya ay gamay nga indention. Okay, so in here we have debit cash 1 million and credit service income 1 million. So usa lang ka debit, usa ka credit, usa ka debit amount, usa ka credit, and then the explanation. That's a simple journal entry. Now, ang compound journal entry on contrary is tanawa siya. So we have, for example, equipment, nag-debit tag 150,000, and then we have cash and accounts payable 40,000, 110,000 respectively. So as you can see, duha ang atong i-credit nga account. Then isa ka debit, then narin the explanation. So that's the difference. As ang differential nila is that sa compound journal entry, you can have two or more debit accounts or both. No, pwede duha ka debit, pwede po duha ka credit. So dali ra determine kung sa ang difference sa simple o sa compound journal entry, and then the explanation layon. Okay? Shall we proceed? Now, we have here how to journalize transactions. It's only pag-journalize transactions nga. Most of you ba kay galibog pag yun kung unsaon pag-journal entry, unsay i-debit, unsay credit, unsay account title nga gamiton. So this is the process. These are my tips. Okay? So number one, you need to analyze the transactions. So, pinaka-importante sa accounting is not really dapat maayo kag mathematics, maayo algebra, maayo ka og statistics, no? Ang number one nga skill yun na dapat nahibawan nimo is dapat naa kay reading comprehension. You have to analyze the transactions. Dapat nakabulok ka kung unsay nahitabo sa transaction. Okay? So, be careful on those kada bitawng paggamit sa words, no? Kay one word lang na gi-appeal sa transaction, pwede siya nga mo-change sa meaning kung or sa unsay nahitabo sa transaction. Number two, you have to identify what the value received by the business and the value parted with. Now, another tip is that kung mag-analyze ka transaction, dapat you have to consider yourself as the business, not the owner. So, dapat pag makabasa ng transaction, imo da yung perspective kay ikaw si business. So, unsa may na-receive ni business, unsa may nawala or nigawas kay business, unsay nisulod, value received, unsay nigawas, value parted with. Okay? Number three, you have to identify account titles involved. Unsa ba yung account titles involved sa transactions? Cash ba siya? Service income ba siya? Expenses ba siya? Liabilities ba siya? Okay? So, in identifying account titles, importante ka siya. It's because each transaction, each financial transaction has at least two effects. So, at least one debit, at least one credit. And then, the last one is, dapat, kabalo ka sa rules of debit and credit. Okay? Kabalo ka sa normal balances. Unsa man yung normal balances? Next slide will tell you, okay? So, dapat ma-recall nimo kung i-debit ba nimo ng account or i-credit nimo ng account. Okay? So, to help you recall the classification of accounts, you have the major account titles. So, by mga major account titles, we have the first one, we have the assets. So, ganing assets, what the company owns. These are the resources the company. Okay, nga panag-iya ni business. So, assets, what the company owns. Liabilities, what the company owes. And we have equity or capital, the residual value, asset less liabilities. So, can you give me examples of assets? So, you can have cash, accounts receivable, office equipment, land. We have the trademarks, the intellectual properties, dagan kaayo, okay? All the resources na panag-iya ni business. We have also liabilities, the obligations, mga kautangan ni business. So, common account titles are accounts payable, notes payable, mortgage payable, bonds payable, okay? Those are liabilities. And the capital, residual value, ang sobra kumbaga. Because the basic accounting equation goes as assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So, kung kaon lang yung owner's equity, so you have owner's equity or capital is equal to assets minus liabilities. So, for example, kung imong assets kay 1,000, and imong liabilities kay 400 pesos, so pila man imong capital, you'll have 600 na capital or equity. Okay? So, unsa ko ito pagsulat sa capital or sa equity account, you have owners, owner's name, capital. Okay? We have also income. So, income, unsa may income? These are actually for service. We have the service income, the professional income, ang mga kumbaga halin, no? But the halin is that refers to the merchandising. Now, these are actually mga cash or accounts receivable nga nahitabo during sa pag-render sa imong service. Okay, for example, laundry shop ka and then nakay customers ka nagpalabada sa imo nga, nagbayad og cash, then atong gibayad sa customer will be your income. Okay? There was expenses, mga gasto kumbaga ni business. So most common for the service entity, we have the salaries expense, we have the utilities expense, the electricity, the water, the internet bill. Okay, those are expenses. So you have to recall kung unsa itong mga account titles under assets, liabilities, capital, income, and expenses. Okay? So now let's proceed to the normal balance. So unsa si normal balance? Si normal balance is actually the increases of account titles. So for example, assets, yung normal balance kay debit, si contra asset kay credit, si liability kay credit, si capital kay credit, owner's drawing or withdrawal kay debit, revenue or income credit, expenses debit. Now, unsa may pasabot ano yung normal balances? When you say normal balances, kung mag-increase, no, ang sa account title, mauni ang mahitabo. For example, mutaas ang cash ni business, therefore you have to debit that one. Okay? Kung mugamay ang cash ni business, the opposite, credit. Ang normal balance man ni cash kay debit. Okay? Kung mu-decrease siya, then that's the time that you are going to credit cash. Okay? Another example of for liability, you have accounts payable, utang ni business. Kung mangutang si business, unsa may tabo, mutaas o mugamay? Mutaas. Okay? Increase. Kinangutang man siya, mutaas ang yung accounts payable. Now, you are going to credit accounts payable. Pero what if kung si business kay nagbayad sa iyang utang? Di ba kung magbayad kasi ang utang, mugamay ang imong utang, mu-decrease ang imong utang. So, unsa man nimo siya, you are going to debit the accounts payable kay nag-decrease man siya because ang normal balance kay credit, increase credit. Pero kay nigamay naman siya kay gibayaran debit, the opposite. Okay? Yeah, for example, expenses, ni taas ng expenses sa electricity, ni taas ang imong bayranon sa tubig kuryente. That's the time that you are going to debit utilities expense. Okay? We have income, ni taas ang income. No? Dagan mga customers ka nag-avail sa imong services. Therefore, you have to credit the income. Ni taas man ang income. Nakuha? Okay, that's the normal balances. Now, it's very important ka ma-master nimo, ma-memorize nimo ang normal balances sa mga major account title. It's because you can use this one, you will use this one during journalizing transactions. Kung dili ka kabalo, dili mo master ang normal balance, pag abot sa journal entries, mawala ka. Di ka kabalo kung i-debit ba nimo or i-credit ba nimo ang account titles. Okay? So, let's have some exercises. So, you tell me if it is debit or credit, ha? Increase in cash, debit or credit? Itaas daw ang cash. Debit, okay? Next, collected accounts receivable. What happened to accounts receivable? Na-collecta daw kuno ang mga utang ni customer sa imuha. Kung sa'yo mahitabo kung makolekta ang accounts, mugamay or mutaas? Of course, mugamay ang imong accounts receivable. So, get normal balance sa accounts receivable is asset. Therefore, its normal balance is debit. Pero nakolekta naman, magamay na ang utang ni customer sa imo kasi you're the business. Therefore, credit. Okay? Increase in accounts payable. Itaas ang utang ni business. So, what will happen to your accounts payable account? It's a liability. Okay? Therefore, credit. Increase in service income. So, na yung mga daghang customers ang nag-avail sa imong services. Debit or credit? Credit. Okay? Decrease in office supplies. So, gidugangan. Nagamit ni business yung mga supplies. For example, ball pen, bond paper, Unsa pa baka mga supply sa office ni gamay daw, okay? Debit or credit? Credit. Nga naman, it's because asset man siya and decrease, no? The normal balance for asset is debit. Pero ni gamay man siya, the other way around, the opposite, credit. Okay? Increase in withdrawal accounts. Nag-withdraw ang owner for personal use, no? For personal, nag-withdraw siya. Nakuha siya kwarta sa iyang business kay ipang-date ba siyang uyab or iyang ipalit dun sa bakaha for personal niyang transactions. So, nitaas ang withdrawal accounts, you have to debit the account. Owner invested money into the business. What happened to capital account? Ang owner daw kuno nag-invest og money sa negosyo. Now, what will happen to the capital account of the business? Credit. Okay? Nitaas man yung capital asa gikan ng kwarta sa owner's investment. Okay? Payment of notes payable. What happened to notes payable account? So, nangutang si business. Kasi, for example, nangutang siya og kwarta kay bangko, kay BDO, and then nag-issue siya og promissory notes. Now, gibayaran ni business ang promissory note, ang notes payable. Unsa nahitabo sa notes payable? Gibayaran man, of course, mo gamay siya. Therefore, unsa gay normal balance sa liability because notes payable is liability. The normal balance is credit. Pero kay nag-decrease man kay gibayaran, therefore debit siya. Acquired land. So nagpalit og yuta ang business. What happened to the land account? Okay, land is an asset. Therefore, tungod kay nag-acquire man og land, itaas ang land, then you have to debit land. Okay? Klaro na ba? I hope maklaro na ang normal balance inyo. Pag dili klaro, so you have to go back here sa table and you have to memorize and master this one. Okay? So, napay pangutana? Kung may pangutana, i-chat lang sa kuha. Okay? Shall we proceed here sa journalizing transactions? Aside from knowing the normal balances, it is also basic, no? Na dapat kabalo ka kung unsa ang makita nimo sa journal entry. First is the date, next is the debit account, next is the credit account, next is the amount and explanation. There are 5 things nga makita nimo sa journal entry. Date, pizza, kung karon sa nahitabo ang transaction, debit account, credit accounts, because as I said a while ago, accounting is a double entry system. So there must be at least one debit account and one credit account, and then the amount debited and the amount credited. So dapat equal ang amount ni debit, equal po ang amount ng credit. It shouldn't be, di yun ang pwede mahitabo nga bisag piso, bisag 10 centavos ang difference. No, di siya pwede yun. Dapat kung 500, kung 1 million in debit, 1 million ang credit. An explanation dayon, short explanation. So, for example, to record initial investment, to record collection, to record acquisition of equipment. So, depende kung saan tapos transactions, and you have to explain that briefly. Okay? So, let's have some examples here. So, example number 1, in July 1, 2020, Joseph Salvino, an accountant, has an initial investment amounting 500,000 for his accounting firm with a business name Salvino Accounting Firm. Now, unsa man hitabo dali nga transaction? One tip that I gave to you a while ago is that you really have to consider yourself as the business, not the owner. So, ikaw karon si Salvino Accounting Firm. Dili ka si Joseph Salvino. Okay? So, as a business, what did you receive? What did you receive from, let me correct this for a while. Okay, English. What did you receive from the owner? Kung saan mo na-receive kay Joseph Salvino as the owner, as a business, of course, you receive money, 500,000. Kung naka-receive ka og money from the owner, from Joseph Salvino, nag-increase ba imong cash or nag-decrease? Increase. Okay? Kung sa normal balance gali sa asset, because cash in asset, debit. Okay, so meaning to say, during a transaction, you have to debit 500,000 pesos. Pero, unsa man ato i-credit? Now, take note that owner, naghatag siya og kwarta sa business. Now, the moment ka maghatag si owner og kwarta sa business, dili lang di ay cash or other assets ang mag-increase, but also the capital. Now, kanang gihatag ni owner nga investment, mahimo na siyang capital karon sa business. Now, ang 500,000, nag-increase imong cash, ni taas pa gyud ang imong capital. Hence, ingani dayon ang mahitabo sa journal entry ni Salvino. So, you have a date, kano siya nahitabo, July 1. So, iuna gyud nimo sulat ang debit, cash, kay taas man increase man imong cash gikan sa owner. Okay, the PR is the posting reference provided na siya sa chart of accounts. So, I hope you remember the chart of accounts. Okay, so you have to write the amount here sa debit column, and then you have here the credit, the J Salvino, capital or the owner's capital, and then the same amount, 500,000, and then you have to have a short explanation on the transaction. Okay, again, ngano nag-debit ta og cash, 500,000 tungod kay si business, okay, tungod kay si Salvino accounting firm, naka-receive siya og 500,000 gikan sa owner. Sorry sa mga saba-saba, okay? So, let's proceed. Sagdi lang sana siya. So, you have the credit account title, the capital. Tungod kay, aside from the cash, nag-increase po ang capital ni business. Yes? Okay? Now, next example, on July 5, 2020, Salvino Accounting Firm acquired office equipment amounting 150,000, paying 50,000 as down payment, and the remaining is to be paid next month. Okay? Prepare journal entry. Noon sa manahitabuan ng transaction. Si Salvino Accounting Firm, ang business, nagpalit daw siya og office equipment. Pila ang amount sa office equipment? 150,000. Ang sa gayang office equipment, asset or liability? Of course, in asset. Obvious ka ng asset. So, nanakay, isa ka debit. Okay? Una man yung sulat ang debit. So, you have office equipment debit. Pila amount? 150,000. Natanawa, sabta paying 50,000 as down payment. Nagbayad og 50,000. Now, kung magbayad ka o 50,000 as down payment, nisulod ba ni gawas, nagamay o nitaas ang imong cash as a business? Of course, it decreases. Hindi gamay. Nga naman, nagbayad man ka, di ba? Nagpagawas ka, value parted with. Therefore, ni-decrease si cash, and therefore, you have to credit cash amounting to 50,000 here. Okay? But wala pa tanahuman. It's because 150,000 ng office equipment, si cash kay 50,000. So, napatay balance yung 100,000. Asa man ng 100,000? Giingon sa problem nga, the remaining is to be paid next month. Meaning, giutang di ay ni Salvino Accounting Firm ang 100,000. Okay? Kaya nag-down siya 50,000, pero sobra sa 150, 100,000 na lang. Pero iyang giutang, wala pod giingon nga nag-issue siya promissory note. Therefore, automatically, that would be an accounts payable. Okay? Nganong gi-credit na tong accounts payable? It's because nitaas pa ng liability dari ni business. Giutang o nitaas ang iyang utang. And then, nag-credit ta og cash, it's because gipagawas man niya ang cash. Because credit cash meaning nag-decrease ang account. Okay? Office equipment, of course, debit, kaya nitaas man ang imong asset. Nagpalit ka og additional equipment, therefore, you have to debit such account. Okay? Now, third example, on July 10, 2020, rendered service to customers collected cash amounting 30,000. So, naay customer si Salvino Accounting Firm, basig na ay isa ka business nga nainhanglan sa iyang service, sa iyang accounting services. So, nagbayad og 30,000. So, si customer nagbayad og 30,000, what happened to cash account? Increases, nitaas, therefore you have to debit that one. Very good. And then, service income. Anong credit mo kag service income? It's because the moment ka maghatag si customer og bayad sa imo, and nag-render ka sa imong service, it's a time nga imo siya i-consider as your income. Okay? Kung sa kind of income, service income, or kung gi-state sa chart of account na professional income, then you have to write professional income. Okay? 30,000, 30,000. And then, explanation. Nasabtan? Okay? Let's proceed. On July 15, 2020, the firm paid the following expenses. No, electricity and water, 6,000. Half month salaries of admin. So, nagbayad og kuryente tubig, 6,000. And then, sweldo sa iyang tao, sa iyang admin staff, 5,500. So, pila yung total? 11,500. So, the normal balance for expenses are debit. Okay? Kung mataas expenses, dapat debit ang imong account title sana. So you have electricity and water 6,000 or technical or the accounting the account for that is utilities expense. So 6,000 debit. Then you have 5,500 yung half month salary sa admin, 5,500 debit as well. Expenses ang duha i-debit nimo kay taas man imong expenses kay normal balance lagi sa expenses kay debit. So, unsa man imong gigamit ani pangbayad? Cash. So, nagpagawas ka og cash. Kaya total, i-add lang na siya, 11,500. I-credit nimo kay nag-decrease ang imong cash kay gibayad nimo ani nga mga expenses. Okay ba? So, explanation to record payments of expenses for the first half of the month. Okay, next. On July 2020, the firm borrowed 250,000 to BDO for additional capital. Issued promissory notes. The loan bears 10% interest per annum. Now, ayaw sa yan, kung natin kayo mga transactions na yan, during journal entry, ayaw sa palibog mga the loan bears 10% interest per annum. You have to consider first kung unsay nahitabo on that day. On July 2020, unsay nahitabo. Si Salvino daw accounting firm na hula mong kwarta kay BDO as an additional capital, pili amount 250,000. Okay? Kung nanghulam siya og kwarta sa BDO, unsa may nahitabo, ni taas ba ang cash? Yes, tudugang nga ng iyang cash. Therefore, you have to debit cash kay nag-increase man ang cash. Di ka mag-credit, kaya ang haya ka mag-credit kung nagpagawas ka kwarta, wala man ka nang pagawas sa kwarta, instead isulod man ng kwarta. So, you have to debit cash 250,000. Nanghulam, borrowed kay BDO. Nag-issue daw ko ng promissory note to specific kay issued promissory note. Therefore, notes payable. Liability kay nanghulam magkwarta, that's a liability, that's an obligation of the business. And therefore, you have to credit notes payable to 50,000. Again, nga notes payable kayo, issued promissory notes. That's your key words there. So, you have to write notes payable. And then, 250,000, credit ka. It's because the normal balance for notes payable as liability is credit. Nitaas si cash, nitaas po si notes payable. An explanation to record borrowed money from BDO. Okay? So, again, I have to reiterate this one. In journalizing transaction, you have to remember that you need to analyze transactions. So, tanawa tong recall tong sa gibuhat a while ago, kato sa mga example, nga gi-analyze na ko sa tayo sa ang transactions. Kadua, identify kung unsa ang receive ni company, unsa pod ang value parted with, unsa ang misulod, unsa ang migawas. Or unsa ang nag-increase, kung ang duha ba kay nag-increase, ang duha ba kay nag-decrease, there are transactions ngayon ana. Okay? And then, identify account titles involved. Ano sa yung involved ng mga account titles? Asset ba? Liabilities ba? Expenses ba? Income ba? Okay? So, master the classification of account titles. And also, apply the rules of debit and credit or the normal balances of the transactions. Okay? So, I am really hoping that you can journalize transactions now. Okay, so now my questions again, you can chat me sa messenger, you can PM me, or you can call me through the number I provided to you. Okay, so that's it for this day. I hope that you learned and you recalled your learning last semester. Okay, so please read and answer now your day 2 module if you're watching this during our time. Goodbye everybody.